Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, fans from a galaxy far, far away and a long time ago, if you hadn't heard, The Acolyte is canceled. Yes, boys and girls, the absolutely worst rated Star Wars project of all time and one of the most disastrous dumpster fires we've seen in the ratings for all of Disney Star Wars out there on Disney Plus was indeed canceled. Yes, there are no second season plans for that in any way, shape, or form, and honestly, considering the kind of absolute hot garbage this show was, considering the ratings and everything else that was involved in this thing, it should not come as a surprise to anybody whatsoever. Now, you know what? If you're one of the fans out there that actually enjoyed The Acolyte, then fine. That's all it means. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you absolutely did enjoy it. I hope you loved every minute of this woke, garbage, gay, space witch nonsense that Leslie Headland and everybody else out there and promoted it. And then, of course, when we decided to criticize and come back at them pushing back against this nonsense, they decided to drop a diss track against all of the Star Wars fans out there that are just a bunch of its and phobes. Oh, well, boys and girls, who's getting the last laugh now? Because as we know, the show has been canceled and everybody else and their mother is trying to come up with any excuse out there besides the one that actually ends up mattering the most, and that would be, of course, that the ratings were absolute hot garbage, and we all know that. So color us shocked there that a lot of people are very upset about this game, and of course they're trying to blame anyone and everyone but themselves, who they are the only reason this show ever even got made, the only reason Kathleen Kennedy ever ended up in her position of power that she could pull any of this stuff off. And now they want to blame the rest of us because we didn't watch their show that wasn't made for us, and the majority of Star Wars fans didn't either. But somehow it's our fault, but that's okay, boys and girls. We'll enjoy it. We'll take the victory lap, and we will laugh, ridicule, and make shame great of them as everybody out there has done, because this is absolutely hilarious, boys and girls. So we're going to check out this article from geeksandgamers.com. We're going to jump over to Kotaku, see what their excuse is for this show getting completely and totally canceled, and then, of course, highlight IGN's really only honest, completely and totally verified point in their entire article about there, besides just documenting all of the incredible hardcore fans out there that simply didn't show up to watch this show that was made for them after all and not for us. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, because boys and girls, we are grinding, we are growing, we are trying to put out content for you guys constantly to keep you entertained and informed. So please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe or follow button down below and leave us a comment and let us know if any of this meltdown surprises you in any way, shape, or form. Or especially if you're one of those wokey weirdos out there who is having a meltdown right now, please let us know in the comments section down below. So, Kotaku over here, of course, an absolute advocate for the spirit of the age, people that are complete and total progenitors out there of the cult and pushing all of that kind of agenda, says blame modern TV for Star Wars: The Acolyte's cancellation. The series was forging new paths and telling different stories in a franchise that often leans too much on nostalgia. Are you kidding me? This thing was full of Easter eggs and clickbait. The Acolyte wasn't perfect, but it did break new narrative grounds in Star Wars, a franchise often haunted by forced goats and endlessly reoccurring characters. Oh, you mean all of the people that the fans know and love and actually want to see? You know, all of those heroes that Disney Star Wars has tried to destroy, like Luke Skywalker, and the only character that actually draws in any kind of viewership whatsoever, i.e. Mandalorian Season 2? Yeah. But The Acolyte, which starred Amanda Stenberg as the twin sisters, was just officially canceled. Yes. It won't get a second season on Disney Plus. And right now, the worst behaved members of the Star Wars fandom are celebrating its demise. Yes, we are. We're taking a victory lap because we tried warning Disney Star Wars for years that this is not what we wanted, that this direction did not work, and it fails time and time again. But did they listen? Did they learn? No. So yes, we're enjoying their abysmal failure, because at some point 2 plus 2 does still equal 4, and you gotta pay the bills. And guess what? A show like this is an abysmal failure with the audience, didn't draw anybody in, and guess what? Isn't continuing. But you know what? I will give Kotaku one good point. One of the things that they bring up, the plaguing modern television, is streaming services and rising production costs. Yes, because they spent $200 million on this show that barely charted twice on the Nielsen ratings and only under the original numbers, not overall. So, of course, who is getting the blame right here? Angry fans react to The Acolyte being canceled. Yesterday, Disney canceled The Acolyte, the latest Disney Plus series that seemed to turn off fans and legendary sci-fi saga instantaneously. There's not much I can say about the show itself because, as a Virginia volunteered to review it, I didn't watch it. That is hilarious. Virginia volunteered to do it. He didn't actually even watch it, which is great, too. I did actually watch the first few episodes, and yeah, there was a couple of okay points, and the rest of it was a convoluted mess that made literally no sense. They talked a Jedi master who had been in literal meditation for like a decade just by the main character, the main protagonist, go up there and talking to him, made him feel so bad about with one sentence that he actually ended up offing himself. With almost no words whatsoever. With literally no words whatsoever. Almost no words whatsoever. Yeah, it was bad. So Star Wars Holocron says, shocking and devastating Star Wars news today. The Acolyte has been canceled after one season. So many plot threads left unanswered. Darth Plagueis, the tie between Vanessa Roar and Kumar. Osha's turn to the dark side. So many more stories to tell. Yes, they dropped a couple of Easter eggs at the very end with Darth Plagueis, who should actually only be like 10 or 15 at this point in the timeline. And of course, Master Yoda, a nice little tease for him at the end as well. Total member berries, literally just to keep people to come in to watch your show, which it worked. You almost had as many people watching the first episode as you did the last episode. Except for the fact that those were the only two episodes that even charted on the Nielsen ratings top 10 for original series, mind you, as well. Really sucks to hear the news of The Acolyte cancellation. The show had a lot of promise, especially in its back and half, and I was excited and intrigued to see where it would go next. Hopefully its stories and characters can continue in some other form, but what a bummer. And those are all fair. If you like the show, by all means, that's fine. There'll probably be like a comic book edition that they'll try to make out there to try to finish up the story to please some of you guys out there. And you know what? I'll be happy if all of you enjoy it. But at the end of the day, we knew the meltdown was going to happen because no matter how much these people out there on social media scream and say that they are the majority, that the rest of us out there, we're on the wrong side of history and that people want what we give them. Well, when of course they find out that that is not the truth, then one of their favorite little projects, their pet projects they tried to promote because of identity politics and being the gayest Star Wars ever, well, they absolutely lose their minds. As this one right here, a Shari Chawala. I have no idea. The worst part about The Acolyte being canceled isn't the cancellation itself, but knowing exactly which part of the Star Wars fan base Disney listened to in order to go ahead with this decision. Stop caving to pressure and stand your ground if you've made something bold for once. Oh, really? Because they have catered to you guys for literally the last decade. And how's that worked out for them? Rise of Palpatine ended up costing them hundreds of millions of dollars, we later found out. And with the exception of like Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, pretty much everything else that they put out on Disney Plus has been crap. And the ratings have been just only continued to go down and down and down and down again. They weren't listening to us. They despise us just as much as you do. But at the end of the day, 2 plus 2 still equals 4. I'm really tired of sharing a franchise I love with toxic, misogynistic, immature racists that constantly seeing them be catered to. Even though the rest of us have been here all along, wanting new and fresh stories that connect deeply with all of us. Well, guess what? Your little minority out there that spends most of their time making Tumblr fan fiction, you don't show up to watch the show. Well, how do we know this? Because even IGN could not deny what Deadline put out as the main reason for this show getting canceled. Right here. Showrunner Leslie Headland, it's now unclear whether Disney Plus, yada, yada, yada. Where did it go? Where did it go? We lost it because it was right at the end of their article because they bury it right here at the bottom. Right here at the bottom of their article. It's unclear whether Disney will return to Star Wars High Republic era or answer any of the questions posed by The Acolyte during its first season. But given the show's performance, it seems unlikely those cliffhangers will be resolved, according to the Deadline report, and all you have to do is check Nielsen's numbers for yourself, because that's what we do. While The Acolyte's viewership started strong, garnering 11.1 million views in the first 5 days of streaming, by the way, the worst premiere of any Star Wars show out there, once again padded with 2 episodes for the numbers. The only reason that thing even charted in Nielsen's original series is not Nielsen's overall. The momentum waned. Dropped out of Nielsen's weekly top 10 charts in week 3. It would return to the top 10 at 10, however, for the final season. And it never made number 1 in any way, shape, or form. So don't blame us. You didn't show up to watch it. The Acolyte being canceled is just another example of toxic internet hate. The show never got a chance to breathe, and half the people hating on it never even watched an episode. Not talking about me. Trust me, I did. It's not my favorite piece of Star Wars content, but it certainly didn't deserve to be axed. Well, apparently the majority of the fan base doesn't agree with you because it got an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. There were times where this was 12 and 13%. It is the worst rated Star Wars project of all time. It is literally worse than the Star Wars Holiday Special. Yes, boys and girls, it's that bad. And, of course, they had to blame Star Wars Theory, who is literally the biggest YouTuber out there and is the most gracious guy I have ever seen when it has come to Disney Star Wars. Well, of course, it's all Theory's fault. Fuck Disney, fuck Lucasfilm, fuck Dave Filoni. I can agree with you on that one. Actually, all 3 of those, the first 3 of those I can agree with you on. Fuck Jon Favreau, fuck Kathleen Kennedy. I can also agree with you on that one. Fuck Star Wars Theory, fuck incels, fuck Grogu, fuck all of you! This is the meltdown this person had. Like literally, it's over and over and over again. They're as bad as they are as bad as they claim we are. I mean, you can go through here and see all the FUs, all the death threats, everything else. These are the people you catered to, Disney Star Wars, while trying to accuse us of being toxic. These are the psychopaths that you catered to. And guess what? They didn't show up. Much like this person points out. The fact that I've never watched one Star Wars show or film, and I was considering starting the Acolyte, and now it's canceled. Yeah, that's the fan base you catered to. Those are the weirdos, Disney Star Wars, that you catered to. That, yeah, they'll promote your stuff. They'll go, yes, thank you for being so inclusive. Thank you for making the gayest Star Wars ever. But guess what? They're not going to show up. They're not going to purchase your Disney Streaming Plus service. At best, they may pirate your stuff. That's the best you're going to get. This is an extremely small and, truth be told, insignificant portion of the population in the overall zeitgeist of things that doesn't pay your bills, that doesn't show up to watch your stuff in any kind of significant number, and just wants to lash out and scream at people on the internet. This is who you've catered to. As Janky points out, lowest rated Star Wars project ever. This fan base had their shot to prove they were a viable audience. They didn't and got it canceled. If you don't watch a $180 million show, it will be canceled. All you complainers failed the Acolyte. Look in the mirror to see why it's canceled. And that's exactly right. That's exactly the truth, whole cloth. They screamed out there on social media. They tracked you down on Twitter. They sent you angry emails and they found you at your offices. These activists, people using mob tactics to try to convince you that they were the majority. They tried to convince you this was the new trendy thing to go with. And they even made converts of many of you out there. Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, Bob Iger. But at the end of the day, 2 + 2 still equals 4. No matter how much you've tried to argue and rewrite the world around you in your own image, much like Lucifer himself tried to do and failed, you have followed in his exact same footsteps and you have failed. So yes, we will take our victory lap. Yes, we will say, told you so, we told you so, we were right and you were wrong. Because we have had to listen to your vitriol. We have had to deal with your death threats and your hatred and your accusations of everything you could possibly ever accuse us of being. That proved we were the majority after all. You were not. and you have failed once again. You didn't show up to support your show, and guess what? It wasn't made for Star Wars fans like me. And guess what? We're the majority. Go woke, go broke. You did it to yourself, and you get exactly what you deserve. Enjoy irrelevancy, Acolyte.